So for this week's self-defense, we're going to talk about a couple of things that are useful. We're going to do a bear hug from behind, and we'll do a few moves after that. Maybe we have a very special guest this week. We have our black belt student, Jacob Davidson, who's visiting us from the Marines.
Hello.
He's going to be our helper. So let's remember our rules of self-defense. First rule, always be aware. If you are not paying attention, let's say Jacob is a kid and he's walking around. I'm a bad guy. He's not paying attention. He's maybe looking at his phone, and I can walk up and attack him very easily. I can grab him. I can hurt him very easily. So you have to pay attention. And remember, the second rule is keep your personal space. Keep your bubble. If Jacob is over here, if I get close and he lets me into his personal space, now I can very easily grab him or hurt him or punch him or something. But if I start to inch closer and he moves away, keeps me out of his space, now it gets a lot more difficult. Now I could jump or move and grab him, right? But if I do that, then that becomes very obvious. Other people may see it if there are other people around. It's much easier for you to dodge and get out of the way. Okay? And rule number 3, run to safety if you can. And remember my old joke, watch a scary movie and do exactly the opposite of what they do in the scary movies. Don't run to the old abandoned farmhouse. Don't run to the lonely alley. Don't run to the place with no lights. If it's dark out, run to a place with lights. I always try to run to a place with people. Run to a place that looks clean and safe. If you can run to a place with people, it's better to run to a place where the people are wearing uniforms, like a Walmart or a police station. So run to safety if you can. Now, our self-defense technique is bear hug from behind. So we're going to go real slow with this, and we'll do it a bunch of different ways. So let's say Jacob is standing here, he's facing the camera. So I'm the bad guy. I come up from behind, I grab here. Now this is over the elbows, notice. That's really important. We'll talk about the variation in a little bit. So I grab here. Now the first thing he's going to do is go into his horse stance. And we'll put that in the video in a little bit. Then he's going to make his arms go down. You see this is kind of like an X block. And when he does that, his shoulders roll forward. So if you're looking at me, it's like this. That makes a gap right there. Now, he's going to take one arm up behind my hands, one in front, and then he's going to put his hands together. And then very quickly, in a forceful downward motion, he's going to separate his arms and push my grip apart. So go ahead and show this, just like that. Now, from there, is there something he could do? Yeah, he could attack. He could take one of his arms and throw the elbow back. Either way. Now, if you think that doesn't work, I have a scar right here that's where that came from. It worked really well, I promise you. He could also run away. He could attack us a couple different ways, and then he could get to safety. Okay? So now let's try that again. I'm going to go slow motion. I come up behind the bad guy. I grab. He goes down, arms come out, and break my grip, and then he's going to elbow strike, and then he could run to safety. Now, we'll try it from another angle so you see how this looks. And matter of fact, we'll do this as kind of a shadow drill. So he's going to stand there. I'm going to pretend to grab him from here. So now he's going to go through the move. So he will kind of push forward in his chest and go down to his horse stance. When he does that, I will go forward. Then when he pushes his arms down, that breaks my grip. Okay? So now, I actually grab him this time. Come here. I grab. Down. See that? Arms come up and push. There you go. Now let's try it from the other angle. So we're here. This. Down and boom. There we go. So, when you first get grabbed, now, and you can see him doing it really well, when you first get grabbed, don't just stand there and try to do the move. Matter of fact, let's go through that, Jacob. So let's say you're doing it the wrong way. So this is the wrong way. Don't do it this way, but I'm going to show you how important it is for these first few movements. If I grab him and he doesn't lean forward, he doesn't go down to the horse stance, that makes the move really hard. See, so even if he brings his arms up to try to break my grip, it's difficult. He has a much harder time to do it. I can still get a much closer grip to his body. So make sure you go down into that horse stance. Okay, so now we're going to do it at real speed. So let's say, Jacob, why don't you stand facing that way? Yeah. So I'm going to come up. He's there minding his own business, which really he should be aware. Really, I shouldn't be able to even get this close to him. But for whatever reason, he's not. And I come up, I'm going to grab, he's going to do the move at real speed. Hopefully he won't hurt me too bad. Okay. Just like that. Only difference would be is hopefully, especially younger people, run to safety. Now, there might be times when you may not want to run to safety. Maybe your grandmother is with you and you need to protect her. I would think very, very badly of myself if I abandoned my grandmother, just run away, be like, oh, sorry, Grandma, good luck. Don't do that. You may not have anywhere to run to. In that case, you may have to stay and defend yourself. But if you can, you need to go get out of that situation. Now, the variation on that is what if they get kind of high on your shoulders? Because you can see, we'll get that in a second. Because you can see from here, this is around close to his elbows. Now, if I get kind of high, there's lots of different things you can do on that, but it's not nearly as bad. This is kind of a bad position for the attacker. One thing you can do is take and put both your hands underneath their elbows, go down to your horse stance, and push up, and then sink under, and then twist your hips, and you're out. Okay? Another variation that you can do is something that Jacob was just showing me. So from here, if they grab here, show me the one you were talking about.
I was like you talking about if they grab you underneath the arms.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought you was going to do.
So, underneath the arms, there's some really fun variations on that. So, underneath here, this is different. Now, really, you're not nearly as bad off if you're the one being attacked on this. Yeah, your hands are open, so just like Jacob did, you can elbow strike me to the head. That alone is quite a bit. You can grab my wrist, grab my fingers. Have you ever, maybe your uncle does milk the mouse, where you take the little pinky and kind of bend it back. You can do things like that. Yeah, that. You can do those things. The big one is, though, for simplicity's sake, throwing those elbow strikes, okay?
I'll kill it.
Yes. Well, let's talk about that. Now, we reviewed this a little bit, the last video we did last week, in the defense against the full Nelson. But you can use that same defense here. So let's say he's looking that way. As I come up and try to get my hands underneath him, he can lock his arms down, just like he's trying to squeeze the water balloons there. Just like that.
If he gets it in,
Yeah. And right there, he's grabbing my fingers, pulling down to extend the wrist in a way it shouldn't extend. Okay? We'll show the Marine variation. The boot camp? Yeah. Now, there's a fun variation. Please be careful at home. Remember what Spider-Man says. With great power comes great responsibility. Please do not hurt anybody. Please practice carefully. Also remember the other thing that Spider-Man says. Oh no, Uncle Ben. So, they grab. Here, he comes up like that. Right there. And then of course, when you get the bad guy in that position, you can attack. Okay.